Youth Horizon's residential program began accepting young men in 1996. It later became known as the Kinloch Price Boys Ranch. Here are just a few of their stories.
Ernest, I don't think he'll ever forget any kid that he ever steps in front of. Or I don't think any kid will ever forget Ernest if they ever step in front of him. He is one of those people that he will leave a mark in your mind about him and every child that steps foot.
We are at the Martin House, first group home by Youth Horizons. I was the first person there 20 years ago. Ernest has been such a big influence in my life, you know. Just the way he always helping people, you know, always looking out for others, always putting others before himself. You know, when I first came here, I had no self-control really at all. Ernest taught me self-control and taught me to respect people, mostly. It became a lot clearer as time went on. Just being surrounded by all the good people that worked for Youth Horizons and all the people in River Community Church, you know, just seeing how those people acted, you know, is a big influence on how I changed.
Being at the Boys Ranch changed a lot, maybe in my perspective at first and in my actions much later on, but it was a huge change to the way life was for me. I disliked authority a lot as a teenager, and so that was a huge change, was trying to deal with authority that in a lot of ways was a lot more strict than what I had dealt with before at home, and rules that were very rigid, a schedule that was very rigid. I finally started for the first time reading the Bible in a way that I didn't want to just know what it said. I was genuinely searching for what God wanted to show me through it. Getting in the scriptures was probably one of the greatest benefits of being here. Many of the people who worked here, the house parents and the staff, reinforced that in a way that I hadn't really seen in other people in my life.
I do remember him leaving and just kind of missing him being around. When he came back from that, he was really different. He had changed. It was a visible change. He was more outgoing. He was more sociable, which is probably why we started talking. But it definitely influenced him in a major way.
I was adopted when I was 6 years old, me and my older sister. The gentleman that adopted us didn't want me. I woke up one morning from my sister, and the gentleman said, he's not going to school today. And 4.5 hours later, I was in Prairie View for evaluation. From there, it was group homes, really. Group homes, a foster home for almost a year. And I wound up at the Martin House after Youthville in Newton. You don't get compassion like you get from Ernest. Group homes, it's just a paycheck to some people. Caseworkers, it's a paycheck. Ernest, it's not a paycheck. It's a lifestyle. It's a door that he wants to open. The question is can you be smart enough and not be so stubborn to walk through it? And I didn't get that. I was too stubborn. I didn't get to walk through it. So my life turned out a lot different than most people's life. Ernest was there to give you a hug and comfort you when you needed it, versus anywhere else they'd get in trouble doing it. And a lot of kids needed that. They needed it, and they didn't get it. You've seen what you come from, so as you get older, you try to help those that are going down the same path that you've been. You've seen every sign that you have given the same person before you, and you try to stop it. You try to let them know, look, you're going down the wrong way. You got to change, you got to stop, you got to look at what's going on. If you don't, you're going to wind up in jail, you're going to wind up in a grave, you're going to wind up with nothing, absolutely nothing. And then when you get to nothing, you're going to wonder why you're there. And then the only thing that you're going to do is you're going to look back and you're going to see everything that you've done. It's hard for a lot of people to understand, especially if they haven't been in the situation. But when you're a child, you run to your mom, you run to your dad, especially when you cry or when you're hurt or when your feelings are overwhelming you and you don't know what to do, you don't know what to say, so you act. You don't get that in the children's home. You don't get that in group homes. And Ernest, he doesn't hesitate. He won't hesitate. He'll grab you by your arm and bring him straight to you. You know, that's who he is, because he understands. He's been around kids for years. He understands the good, he understands the bad, he understands the heartache that some kids are going through because they're being yanked from their homes, not understanding, so they've got this huge wall up. You know, your life is not what you expected. But he is that type of person that would want to change it for the better. Everybody has a story. Some are worse than others. Good, bad, whatever the case may be. You arrive here, all of you are in the same boat. If there's anything that I learned in my life, is never turn away somebody that is willing to put their hand out